hydrate power. You're in the dog zone for an hour.
It got so big, it became a muscle bone. It got stabbed into me. Let it off. I'm not sweating, I'm just missing you. With one step closer to the moon.
Yeah, 9,000.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the DOGGZZONE 9000, the official podcast of 1-900-HOT-DOG, America's last comedy website. Listen, the year's 2024. Comedy is a battleground, and 1-900-HOT-DOG is the only surviving pilot of a once elite robot fighting force, proudly standing amongst the wreckage of their fallen allies, staring down their probably Russian-backed oppressor, ready to do whatever it takes to win, even though for some reason they can't even read. Yes, I'm still talking about 1-900-HOT-DOG and not the incredible 1989 movie ROBOTJOX. So please go to 1-900-HOTDOG.com and support the only remaining champion of comedy. I'm your guest host, human rattle room Zak Koonce, doing my best to make people lose their grip on the point with my too slippery to hang on to tangents and my surprise breakaway anecdotes. With me on his own show, I'm happy to say is not an imposter. And I know this because I slapped his ass. Like I do every time. It's a tradition at this point. Not only was his reaction to the slap in accordance with what I expected, but the shape of his ass also conformed to my intimate knowledge of it. Please welcome Seanbaby and his familiar ass.
I've been ass verified. It's a pleasure to be on my show. Thank you.
Our guest today is no stranger to the comedy battlefield. In fact, she's one of the only people to make it through her entire contract and live long enough to become Earth's last remaining cowboy. It's Lydia Bugg.
Thank you so much for having me in this robot fight zone.
Hell yeah. Catch us up on what you've been up to.
Oh God, what have I been up to? I moved to Chicago.
Oh.
I heavily endorse moving to Chicago.
Chicago's nice.
Yeah, I love it here. And I, on Halloween, released my novella Healthy Choices on Amazon. So if you want to read a spooky book by me, you can now without having to go specifically to script, because the contract I signed there was weird, and I got the rights back after a year, so.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Healthy Choices. For a second there, I was just thrown off a little bit, because I thought you did comedy and horror, and I was like, is she doing health shit now, too? Like, this is... Okay.
No, it's body horror about, like, how people view women's bodies, like fat women specifically. Because when Ozempic first was starting to be talked about, I was like, if there was a 1% chance this made you into a cannibal, all women would still be expected to take it.
Right. They're like, we could deal with that when it happens. It's
yeah,
fine.
like, they'd be like, it's fine, you should still take it. And that's the premise of the novel.
Hell yeah.
So, the 1% chance of cannibalism?
Yeah, like 1% chance of you becoming a horrific monster, essentially.
That's like a video game drop rate for a really good item. I feel like eventually I would witness it at some point.
I'd grind for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would be so many people, and we still wouldn't care. We'd be like, worth it to never see a fat person again.
She was hot, though, right? Like, conventionally? All right, yeah, it's good.
All right.
Now I'm checking that out. I've been listening to the show for as long as it's existed, and one of my favorite reoccurring bits is Lydia watching a movie that most of us grew up with for the first time. Mm-hmm. And I kind of think you've had it a little easy. You got some Arnold films to start off with, and like that dude his like unrelenting psychotic charm can pretty much carry a movie. And I thought it'd be neat to have you watch a movie that has nobody like that. Like it has
You're
to
telling
stand
me
up
Gary
on its
Graham
own.
doesn't have the juice?
Juiceless
Gary Graham?
Even though he's one drunk guy, he doesn't quite have the sauce.
I called him Billy Zane from Wish.
Oh, he's Wish Zane for sure.
Yeah, he's Timu Zane.
There's a period where there was like 3 actors that looked like him, and I still not sure who is who. Like, who's the guy from Silverado? There's like an actor that looks...
Scott Glenn,
yeah.
And then probably Jan Michael Vincent would hang out next to those two.
Could just like, I could be talking to one of them, and if I turned my back and they switched, I'd be totally fooled.
You'd be like, something's going on here. Let me check your ass.
You know, one solid identifying slap.
There's a real thing in this movie. I just we'll get to it, but like there's a Chekhov's ass slap in this movie.
It's so good. It's my favorite thing.
Pays off.
It makes me so happy every time. I guess if we start from the beginning, ROBOTJOX is a Stuart Gordon movie, and I've been kind of on a Stuart Gordon kick. That dude, every time I watch an old movie and I'm like, oh, that sucked. It sucked a lot more than I thought it did. That has never happened with a Stuart Gordon movie.
Okay.
So for a little background, the writer of this film worked with Stuart Gordon to come up with the concept and flesh it out. And the writer was like, this is going to be a dead serious, hard sci-fi, politically driven. And Stuart Gordon was like, how about none of that shit? How about it's fun? I guess the gist of it was the writer wanted to make an adult movie that kids would like, and then Stuart Gordon was like, no, we should make a kids movie that adults would like.
You could see the ruins of that first idea, though.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's not it's the market, and it's he's got some world building in there that reeks of hard sci-fi.
Yeah.
Which I don't think the effects existed at the time to pull that off. I think Stuart Gordon made the right choice. I think he's really smart, even though he's kind of like a campy dude.
I actually have in my notes that the world building was pretty good. It was during a scene where like the special effects were failing, like the set design was failing, but it's also like I know exactly what they're trying to tell me, which is kind of unusual for like a movie of this level.
There's like a prank caller that like wants to shit on the main character at his home, and they have video phones. So when the woman answers it, there's like a hand covering the camera. And I was like, that's a nice little touch. They thought about that. That's like a thing that most schlocky directors wouldn't think about, and it was just, I appreciated it.
Yeah, I like the direction of it. I think my favorite thing that kept me engaged with it was like the set design and the fact that it was really colorful. Most future movies, they go with that really drab palette of like metallics and stuff, and they had some of that, but then they had a lot of red. They just had a lot of like fun looking sets and fun looking robots, and honestly, if something looks like cool and practical effecty, that's the whole movie for me. Like I grew up watching Tim Burton movies. Like a good set will really engage me in a movie.
I bet you Tim Burton loves this movie, if I had to guess.
Yes, I think you would.
Yeah, Stuart Gordon, I was looking on IMDb, he was just coming off a real hot gig where he wrote and directed a kids safety video, so his star was shining bright when he took on ROBOTJOX.
He probably did that as a favor to a friend, because he also did Reanimator and From Beyond, two fantastic movies that also like were horrors with this like veneer of complete goofiness. So I feel like he knows how to be unserious in a way that's like really helpful for the concept.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was his.
Yeah, he was actually going to direct it and he was ready to go. They had started production, but he got sick, so they replaced him last minute, which probably was for the best. So unfortunately, this film I think is responsible for sinking Charles Band's first company, which was Empire International Pictures, which also did Arena and Reanimator, like most of Stuart Gordon's early movies.
Yeah, the whole movie feels like too expensive for what it was. Like the whole time you're like, Gary Graham is holding up your fucking tentpole franchise, huh? For those who don't know, Gary Graham was in Alien Nation and the
TV show.
One episode of the shows your grandparents watch. Just name a show your grandparents watch, and he was there
he showed
for
up.
One episode. His IMDb is like 9,000 credits. And you're like, what the 9,000 credits? And you're like, oh, right. You were fucking Hank Henchman on CSI episode 782.
Yeah, I wrote down like, this was a good movie except for the acting.
Yeah.
Which is like, I guess
Agreed.
not a big part of movies for me.
Yeah. This was a weird cast too, because then you have Anne Marie Johnson, who I grew up with. Basically, she's been in part of like the Wayans brothers stratosphere. Hollywood Shuffle. I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, In Living Color. Like, she's definitely a comedy actress, and then to see her just this dead serious, emotionless, like genetically engineered warrior human was just like really
with the worst haircut
so
on earth.
I noted that.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm watching it. I'm like,
haircut.
I will bet $1 million that they did not have a black stylist on set, and it was in Italy. They didn't. It was not. The person did not know how to do anything with black hair.
I did like that they like have bred the ultimate human warrior, and it's not like all white guys. Like it was like 50 El DeBarges. Like everyone's sort of like mixed race, light skinned.
Yeah.
You're like, I just like that choice. It sort of took the politics out of it. You're like, yeah, I guess in the future they wouldn't be like bogged down with like white supremacy. Then there was a guy that did some racial slurs.
Yeah, maybe Earth's last racist. We're not sure.
Yeah, Earth's last racist, and he was the bad guy. So
he was also like horribly sexist, and then I was suspicious of him. I'm like, okay, actually, this movie's pretty good because it does have some racism and sexism, but it's all from a character who's clearly like the bad guy.
The worst. Yeah.
Okay.
I think he was trying to ham up just being so American that he edged into that old timey racism and sexism. He's like, I'm definitely listen. I'm no spy. I'm as American as he can get. Listen to this racism, for instance.
Yeah, that was definitely the vibe.
Even his friends, he's like, I don't trust that. He drops a hard J in reference to an Asian
co-workers
person.
and friends.
Yeah, his coworkers. Yeah. He's also really into the thing to his own non-jokes. He'll say something that is funny to him, and he'll barely be containing the laughter of it. He's like,
yeah, he got us. It's good American criticism.
Yeah,
you nailed us, buddy.
I guess for anyone who's never seen this movie before, ROBOTJOX is a film that takes place in a nuclear post-apocalypse. The world has come to an accord where from now on, all territory disputes will be settled in the just raddest and just dumbest way possible. Two robots will stand in front of each other and just unload their entire arsenal on each other.
Yeah, there's no tactics or guile. They try to pay it lip service, like, ooh, we gotta counter their weapons. Like, no, they stand right in front of each other and just hit every button on their fucking robot.
They can't move good. So that's part of it. It's like they've invented these super weapons, but did not invent how to make the robots run.
I think that was on the poster. I said ROBOTJOX coming this summer. They do not move good. That was.
They don't even look like they do in the picture. It's a very dynamic video cover. Like, it's in motion, but it's like that thing's not moving around too well, though. Those joints are not designed for speed.
They look like when your grandpa is like walking around at Thanksgiving and you're like, oh no, don't trip.
Yeah,
don't trip, Grandpa.
That's the belly full of turkey walk. I got to go watch the football game now walk.
Because my grandpa was a Jason and the Argonaut skeleton, so he did move a lot like these robots.
Yeah. Just full stop motion. I would also say the director of Armored Core, the video game, is a fan of this movie because there's a lot of like just direct design influences in it. So, in the head of the people that created this they pictured Armored Core, even though it didn't exist yet. Like, these things are going to skate from side to side, defying gravity.
Jump
and
jets.
It's like, the stop
skates.
motion guy was like, I'm going to stop you right there. Are you fucking crazy?
I can do waddle. I can do kind of punch.
Yeah.
If you want to kick, oh, that's going to be all fucking weekend.
You like Jason the Argonauts? Pick one skeleton and I will give you that. That's it. You get one skeleton.
I think it's the perfect plot. I love that all of the political fates down to robot fighting. It seems smart and awesome, which is weird because I think this is the plot of a lot of anime. Uh-huh. And me, in general, I think anime is always the wrong choice. Mm-hmm. So I sound like I'm making a PSA. Whether you're deciding what to watch, which hobby to pursue, or what user profile you should look like, anime is always the wrong decision.
Watch ROBOTJOX instead. Clearly influenced a lot of anime.
Cut all this, Jamie.
This opening is rad, too, because you get like some good set work. The sound design, I want to give props to as well, because like when that big piece of, robot body part hits the snow, it thumps, this really like reverberates in a nice, satisfying way. Like this environment feels big. Like these things actually feel like they're giant. But I just right away don't understand the rules. Like this guy's like, dude, my back's broken. I give up. And he's like, and the judges are like, he gave up. And the guy's like, I don't care. And they're like, shit, nothing we can do. Like, let him die, I guess. And
yeah, I do have a clip of that actually.
Alexander! You win! Alexander! I can't move! I think my back's broken!
Judgment. I would like judgment, if you please.
The judgment is victory for the Confederation. Alexander, hold your position.
I yield! I yield!
You're next!
Achilles!
Bastard. He didn't have to kill him.
You surprised?
Picture just the robot with the tiniest little forearms, like holding his arms up in the air too when he does that. It's so
good.
adorable. This little robot.
By the way, if you need it, I did clip just that part.
You're next.
Just call it out. Call it out if you need it.
Achilles.
But you're right, though. There's no fucking rules. Like, it feels like a big danger of deciding all the world's fate with combat robot is that the guys in the combat robots, they might just decide to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And then what? And that's like what happens here instantly. They're
So
like,
many
okay,
times.
So many
Yeah.
times, every time with this guy. Like it's like clockwork. You put Alexander behind the wheel of a giant robot, he's gonna go off script.
Yeah.
Like every time.
and I do feel like if we did this in real life, like if we said, Anderson Silva, you represent Brazil over the territory of Alaska.
Fuck yeah.
And Chael Sonnen, you're representing America. And then Anderson Silva wins, and they're like, okay, cool. Brazil owns Alaska. And then Anderson Silva killed Chael Sonnen and then threw a granade into the crowd. We'd be like, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Are you telling me there's no rules against A, dogs playing basketball, and B, this? Who's writing these fucking movie rule books?
Everyone handles the presence of a clear psycho with no boundaries with just sort of a grain of salt. You know, he's allowed to do whatever he wants.
I blame the fact that instead of like dressing the judges as like judges in a court in like robes, they dress them as referees in the NFL.
Yeah, and they have little karate helmets on, little adorable, like just taekwondo point sparring helmets. That'll stop the robot foot for sure.
Yeah, like who's gonna respect that?
They have the gravitas of bad actors choosing to act like space judges. Like they're like, okay, I'm going to play this referee like I am the fucking Kryptonian council sentencing you to the Phantom Zone.
I'm one of the Watchers from Marvel.
Yes.
Like, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the new Watu.
Yeah. In their little stripy shirts, they're
Yeah.
trying to command that respect.
All right,
It's
I'm going to
just-
stop you right there. That's not a shirt. It is a full onesie.
It's a
Yeah.
full onesie.
They have feet. They have little footies.
With like the puffiness of an 80s superhero movie. Like it's kind of
Hamburger
out.
ass judges.
Yeah, it's definitely a Spirit of Halloween referee
Fucking
costume
Hamburglar.
for the kids. The hamburger.
I guess one plot point that gets dropped here is they have spies stealing information. So they're like, oh, we got a secret laser, but they knew about our secret laser. But other than that, like you get the movie. Like you fully understand the movie. It's Cold War shit settled with robot fighting. So now we cut to Gary Graham fighting a whole room of karate nerds.
I'm glad you said that because I wrote in my notes, this is the nerdiest future I've ever seen. This is even the karate is nerdy. Like this is when you watch one of those YouTube videos where like it's a street fight and one of the kids is like finally going to test his strip mall karate for the first time and he takes a stance. That's everyone here's stance.
That's the whole universe. Yes, they're all doing like the Shotokan karate stance. They got Chuck Norris point karate mitts on. I love it. It's the best. This is like how you thought fighting worked when you were 8. Just like huge in blocks and out blocks.
Yeah.
So our guy Gary Graham just fucks the whole room up. He's great. And then he gets sucker kicked by some guy, by one of the El DeBarges. And then they have like a little clash of philosophies because this guy, Gary Graham's like, hey, cool, let's have a nice warm up.
We're
And
bros.
he's like,
Yeah.
no, we should fight to the death during sparring practice. I took a clip.
To be workout's over.
It isn't over until one of us is defeated.
In training.
That's the lead actor for this feature film.
Yeah. In training.
Training!
That's probably the most realistic part of that one because I've definitely trained with some guys that
for
treat
sure.
every rolling session like it's Pride, like it's the Pride finals, and I'm like, bro, just please tap out. Like breaking your arm breaking today does nothing for anyone. Like, what are you doing?
You put me to sleep. You gotta put me to sleep. I'm not tapping.
Yeah, I feel like that guy does like Disney Channel acting where screaming is the best acting. So just when he needs to be acting a lot, he just does a big scream.
Hell yeah,
It works on me. I can tell when he's serious because he's screaming.
We get a pretty good exposition dump from the doctor here. She looks like a Dr. Ruth type. I don't know if that's what they were going for. That's just who she is.
Yeah.
She's the inventor of the gene jocks. They're test tube babies, but they don't ever call them that though. That's a racist term or ableist, whatever. Tubies.
They call them tubies, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're tubies.
Was that the term we're not supposed to say?
Yeah. don't call
I
them
apologize
tubies,
if any
please.
clones are listening.
Yeah. I think that's just what they call us YouTube people now.
That sounds right.
I like how sort of professional she is about it too. She just hands them sample tubes and just like, I appreciate you boys would just, drop loads in these tubes for us for our science, and they're like little boys about it because they're regular old humans, you know. They don't. This stuff is funny to them.
Yep.
Well, yeah, and she asks in front of the children, the adult children, I guess. Like, this is how you guys were born. I'm just going to ask them real quick while we're in the middle of training to just, like, jerk off in this tube.
Yeah.
Well, Gary Graham offers, well, first he's already hit on our girl, Athena, real aggressive, and it doesn't go well. Like, she's sort of a sexy toddler, like we say, like they're these age-accelerated, like, lion-o monsters. They're clones with the minds of children. But like,
I needed them to be more specific about like if they had a childhood or
yes,
if they are
I wasn't sure.
3 years old.
I do think they're sexy toddlers, and so when he hits on her, but she understands like I'm being hit on. Fuck this, fuck you, and so it like the tone of it's really wrong. This was '89, so like you could still like just go grab a titty in a movie, and you could still be the good guy, but like you could tell like she took the acting in a different direction. She's like, no, absolutely fuck this guy. She treats him like a Subway pervert. And then when he gets the sperm cup, he's like, why don't I just go pork it into the fucking sexy
what about
toddler
a
over
direct
there?
deposit the old-fashioned way? Yeah,
the old-fashioned. And she's like, same reaction, like, no, absolutely not. This is an HR violation.
And the viewer at home is like, that is the hero of this movie?
That's
the save
our
the
hero?
cat moment?
But here's what's fucking crazy is from this moment on, that energy is gone. They're like, we can't do this anymore. The rest of the movie, you're like a super good guy. She's doesn't quite know what a penis is. Like, we're going a totally different direction.
Yeah, she like can't. She could barely contain her smiles whenever they make eye contact. Like, it's just so cute from here on out.
Yeah, it becomes much more of a normal like movie romance after this. They talk a little bit about, or they set up the spy because the racist cowboy in their group. Athena says, hey, you want a robot fight back in the day with like this super last minute crazy laser. Like you just crit hit this guy. How'd you know how to do that? Where'd they hit him with that laser? He's like, oh, geez. Like pulling on his collar.
Fighting skill, lady. Look.
Yeah.
Mother luck.
Try luck. Train in your luck. And so we're
Spec
like, okay.
into luck.
I was suspicious of him from the beginning of that scene because she also asked him like, oh, I didn't know that like you had a job or that your job was relevant. I thought it was just the guy in the robot.
Yeah.
He's really defensive. He's like, I do stuff. I do. It's a team effort.
He would lose without me out there. All right.
And I was like, oh, okay, this guy has a huge chip on his shoulder. I'm immediately suspicious.
It's a good scene though. Again, like this sort of speaks to even though it's silly, the craft of the team. Because when she says that, Doc Matsumoto kind of glances over. He's like, he clocks that shit and is like, oh yeah, you're right. Like, that was bullshit. That was an impossible shot. Also, Tex is not necessarily wrong, because then we get a fight, and these robot jocks are kind of fucking dumbasses. Like, they don't seem to understand what to do from moment to moment. He's like, try the green laser. He's like, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
and it's
I'll try it, boss.
Yeah. They're not really making decisions on their own from moment to moment. And
if I'm not mistaken, they set it up basically, you get 4 weapons on your robot and they change those in and out, but basically you get 4 buttons.
Yeah.
It's adorable that they think there's some sort of a strategy to like when to shoot the green laser, because there's not. I guess Fast and the Furious was worse with like you had the one nitrous button, and that they made a whole movie about that. And when you push that one button, so ROBOTJOX is 4 times better than Fast and the Furious, is what I've just mathematically proven.
And it doesn't matter what secret weapon they have, because every fight ends the same way. They use the weapon on Alexander, and then he just bum rushes them and just beats the piss out of them with overhands. Like, that's it. He just clobbers them with Hulk smash. That's how every one of these fights is gone.
Hulk smash is overpowered. Here's where I just made the note that the world building in this is pretty good. Like, they cut outside and there's a bunch of like destitute locals and medical masks, and they're betting on the fights. And this is their whole world, but like you can tell, like they're being placated. These are the masses being placated. And you're like, wow, they really, Its set sucks and none of these people can act, but like they're really telling a story effectively. This is a clip of him getting into his robots.
Right, there may be a little lag in this right laser.
They fix the ankle joint okay?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You can dance with it.
We're gonna stomp with it.
Crash and burn.
Crash and burn.
Crash.
I think that's cool as shit. I'm gonna stomp with it.
I'm gonna stomp with it,
All
you
right.
fucking idiot. What do you think I'm gonna do?
Hell yeah,
out there?
Gary.
This isn't robot dancing.
And this is Chekhov's butt slap here. What happened? Because he gets in, and they make like a deliberate show of it. The guy like hits him on the butt in a way where I'm like, oh, that's the first time that guy's hit a guy in the butt. He's awkward about it. But no, that was to let us know that that's important.
That's important. That was
an important
one of the most key moments in the movie. Some of the world building is if we go back to that scene with the guys on the street, they're watching a newscast and there's a commentator on there named Ajax, and Ajax has got this really fucked up presentation. He's got a neck brace on and he's speaking like there's a new secret weapon. So he's like, because of his name, you know, he was a jock too. And they all seem to get their neck or back broken. Like if they live, they do not live good lives. And I think that there could be some design flaws in the seat. You see that later when Anne Marie Johnson is in the jock and she's just being flung from her upper body, like just rotating around like a gyroscope. And I'm like, there's got to be better back support for these things. That's not only does that look like it's going to break your back, it did break a guy's back at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, we had seatbelts in the 70s. Like,
yeah, we had seatbelts. And I'm just going to throw a monkey wrench into the whole plan. We had joysticks. Like, there's no reason to stand in there and control it virtually. Like, on a treadmill. You could just have a forward button.
And 4 buttons that someone tells you when to push them.
Yep. Yeah. I'll go even one further. They didn't even need to be in those robots.
That's a great point. Yes. Or build the robots. They could just have a boxing match.
They could just they could just kick fight until one of them decides to kill the other one or
That's
not.
what you call it. Kick fighting.
Kick fighter.
It would be way less expensive, and they could use some of those resources to help the people that are betting on the robot fighting.
Yeah.
All of these are great ideas.
Who don't care if they live or die, because they...
And this is what I mean about the world building, how evocative it is that we're here discussing the universe in which these people live and ways to make it better.
Yes.
They did it. Well done, ROBOTJOX. You were the wild stallions of fucking hard sci-fi comedies. So I was always confused by this. There's like stands. There's a stadium. Like people are there.
Yes.
Just sitting around.
Yeah.
They do acknowledge in the movie that this is silly. They call them bench monkeys or something, derogatory.
Yeah. They clearly don't have a lot to live for.
Yeah. I was curious. It got me thinking about like, are they there because do they not think that there's a chance they'll die? Because they all seem really surprised when a lot of people die.
Yeah.
It
seems
like
a
huge
huge sign
tragedy.
a waiver. They said at one point they all have to sign a waiver.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things they knew it would eventually happen, but it hasn't happened yet in their universe.
But
they are shooting like missiles at each other because it starts out in the robots like walk up a little bit and then they have a long range phase where like whatever they brought that shoots, they just go crazy. Mm-hmm. And the robots cannot dodge. I mean, they could, but like they physically cannot. So they're just getting pummeled with missiles and lasers. And then it's like they call a timeout, and then no more long range weapons. It's kick. I think you call it kick fighting.
Yes.
So they go up and they have to have a kick fight. But here's where we also see where the spies come in, because our guy has a secret green laser, and when he shoots the green laser, Alexander, the bad guy, also has a green laser. It's like, oh shit, they both got green lasers.
What? They
spy shit.
When they call the long range phase off and they go into melee range. This is my favorite delivery. One of the referees goes, "It's no more range missiles now. Now it's man to man." He sexed it up way more than he needed to, and I really appreciated it. It was like he was selling cologne or something. It was so silky.
Technically, it's giant robot to giant robot,
right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's not as sexy. You're right. Man to man, skin to skin, to the ejaculation, brother.
Fastest way to warm up a man.
There's a point I like where somebody's in our boy's ear, Achilles' ear, and he goes, "Watch for that kick. He's tricky." And then here comes the world's slowest kick. Just knocks his robot over with
just a
like he's
Jenga
closing
tower.
the door with his hip. Like he's got a bunch of groceries and he kind of just bumps the door closed with his hip. Like that's how they take out our guy.
Yeah. And that's where he stays there for a while.
Yeah. It's over, right? Like there's no 10 count. They're like, "No, dude, you got to go over and kill his robot while he's asleep."
He hits him with, he cuts a leg off or something. Right? He has a blowtorch, I think. And I
don't think he fully cuts it off, but he hurts
falls.
him enough that Alexander falls.
Yeah, he activates an illegal move, which is it's a fist, but it's a ranged weapon, which is not allowed.
It's also at the crowd. Like Alexander shoots the rocket punch away from the fight and into the crowd. So Achilles heroically jumps in the way of the punch and it does not help at all. It turns the punch into a falling robot. Everyone's dead.
Yeah.
And it's so dramatic. Like the audience, they literally do a close up of a charred futuristic teddy bear.
Yeah.
It's like laying in the stands, and there's like a child that's dead, and his mother's like cradling him. In this funny robot movie, there's a dead child.
They
and
do
his
some
mother,
like Tiananmen
crying.
Square shit, and it's like, all right, this is from the hard sci-fi stuff left over from that other guy's script. We didn't need this. Do you mean the whole movie could have been like this? No, thank you.
Yeah.
They don't really play it up like that outside of the scene either. Like, this is really heavy-handed. You must be sad. That's a huge tragedy. And then the rest of the movie is if like, yeah, well, it was bad, but like, it happened yesterday, dude. What the fuck are you worried about?
Yeah.
He gets out of his he like gives up the fight. And he's like, oh my God, I got to get out and look at this carnage.
Yeah.
And now, I feel like this is how it would really go in real life. They have like a big argument about the results. They're like, hey, you can't use a rocket punch. That was the man-to-man section. You can't shoot a hand. You have to forfeit. And so they bicker, and they decide it's a draw, not a forfeit, because the refs make it very clear. They do not care that people died or that Achilles saved them. You don't get disqualified for attempted murder, and you don't get points for attempted murder prevention.
I think that was a bullshit call, though, because he did use a ranged weapon. All of that other shit, fine. You don't care about human life, great. That's still a rocket. Like, and I don't care if it's in the shape of a fist. It's a rocket. He loses. That's illegal.
If you're watching a fight and Conor McGregor throws a grenade into the crowd, and he would, if it occurred to him and he had a grenade,
if he was allowed to bring it in,
yeah, I would. I was the ref. I'd stop the fight and I'd say, that's a disqualification. You lose the fight. And
at the very least,
come on,
you
I
lose
just
this
threw a grenade
fight
in the crowd. I'd say, it's my call. I think it's a fair call.
It'd be different if you leapt the cage and you punched the crowd. Those are the tools that you're allowed to use, but you brought a grenade. You used a grenade.
Wrap it up out there. Get back in the fight, sir. You're still going. No disqualification.
Those Hamburglar-ass judges, they were like, no, this is a draw. We're fine with all of it, actually.
I'm glad they get their little flying saucer bashed at the end of the movie. Fuck those guys.
Yeah, they go out pretty hard. Just they don't even get like that. You know, when you crush a spaceship, you gotta cut inside that spaceship to see them scream, right? That's just fucking movie 101. These guys don't even get that. They're just their spaceship gets crushed. You're like, I'm sure they're screaming in there. Who gives a shit?
They got folded. Who cares?
Don't even do the insert shot.
So yeah, Achilles retires. He says that was my 10th fight, and they're like, "No, you bitch. That wasn't a full fight. You got to fight again." He's like, "No, my life is drinking now." So we go to this a totally sweet ass future bar. I love these. It's totally an arena future bar. Like I love.
Yes,
this is where you get the silver foil dresses and the crazy ass whatever they think future music is going to sound like. And
I loved the dancing here so much. Like, you're watching a movie, you're like, obviously the people dancing, they don't know what music's going to get piped in later. But every person made a different decision on what that rhythm is going to look like. But they're still making really big choices with their like arms and legs. So it just,
and they're all white Italians.
Looks like malfunctioning. Yes. They're all very, very white, malfunctioning Italian robots. But also, this is weird that they're all celebrating because they almost lost Alaska. They had 10% of a 9/11 like this afternoon.
And they're like, huge win for us, guys. We should all be drinking.
We didn't lose Alaska. We didn't get it, but it's also this just seems like the jock bar because you got like the Confederate table over there too. So I think it's just a mishmash of whoever. You got groupies there trying to pick up the market. I'll call them American Russia. That's what it's supposed to be. I think by the time they produced it, they were like, you know what, the Cold War's a little out of fashion now. Let's change this up. So now they're the Confederacy in the market, but we all know what the fuck's going on.
This was like a year after the Berlin Wall came down, I think. I'm bad with history, but yeah, I feel like the Cold War was dying down. American Gladiators fixed it.
Rocky IV for sure fixed it if that didn't work.
Rocky IV, like we won a lot of different ways. It's kind of embarrassing how fucking hard Russia lost that. Because where's their Rocky IV? Sons of bitches.
We need a ROBOTJOX now more than ever, if anything.
And Achilles is just drunk off his ass. And I don't think Gary Graham is familiar with alcohol. I don't think his dad drank. I don't think he drinks. He's just
you know what?
Drunk actor.
He's got one delivery that I really appreciated, though, because they're going alphabetically through all the booze, right? That's their thing between him and this bartender. He just drinks 24 drinks. I guess this is how he learns how to read. His character can't read for some stupid, silly reason. I don't know why.
Well, and his brother's job is reading.
He's a writer.
No, he says, how's the reading going?
I think he just said that because he doesn't understand how writing works. How's the reading business going?
I thought it was like some terrible future job. They're like, dystopia of the future.
He was writer coded. He had the sweater, his office, like he looked like, maybe he was doing a Stephen King novel or something like that. But he can't read. He's doing the alphabet with the booze, and he's just relying on this bartender to be honest with him about what letter they're on. And he's like, we're on J. He's like, what about a julep? He goes, yeah, give me julep. And I thought that was really sweet how he said that.
Jimmy julep.
Give me julep. Alexander shows up here. That's the bad Russian that just indiscriminately kills his competitors. He shows up, and I dig his vibe in this. He's a good, like, snide little villain. He comes in and he does this gesture. He just holds up his two fingers without saying anything, like, give me this much booze. And then he's just like...
and they're like, I know you're Russian. It's definitely going to be vodka. Don't even have to ask.
He drains a couple, and then he picks a fight with some tubies, and he just demonstrates complete domination over them. Just every flaw that could possibly exist in their coding is exhibited.
The whole scene was like a lot of things you never see people do in real life, but also a lot of things people don't do in movies. Like just a whole bunch of things all mashed together in a way that barely makes sense, but it kind of works. You're like,
right,
that's the bad guy, and this was a bar fight in like hard quotes, but like it wasn't. It very much wasn't anything, and nobody did anything that resembles human behavior.
Right.
But it still somehow says what it's trying to say. I think that's the magic of ROBOTJOX.
You don't think it's human behavior when Alexander told one of them, you make my drink taste like blood?
You make my drink taste like blood. I was like, wait, what are we doing here? Are we Russian still, or are we Dracula now?
Are we Tommy Wiseau?
Yeah. Tastes like blood.
Here, I'll play it.
Please.
I never thought that I would say this. But I'm glad to see you.
Blah.
Very glad.
Very glad.
Wish I could say the same. You're making my beer curdle.
Oh.
And you? You make my drink taste like blood.
I knew you would have clipped that. I knew it.
What the fuck could it mean? Like, I get you're trying to be threatening, but how did I come in earlier and bleed in your vodka? Why would I do that?
Like, I think it's like, I'm excited to drink your blood. Yeah. I'm a bad guy thinking about drinking your blood.
You make me bloodthirsty, and so every drink,
Okay. I bit my tongue. I'm so excited. I bit my tongue. Unrelated to this conversation, I bit my tongue.
I think someone dropped a bunch of pennies in my drink. I don't know what's going on. And we do have the bartender too. This was like one of those stupid like throwaway lines that my brothers and I always reference to each other. But the bartender's like, Achilles, I'm not allowed to serve drunk people, and you got to admit you are one drunk guy. He like didn't know what to say, or he forgot his line for a second there.
Yeah, fucking drunk. He was gonna call him an asshole. He's like, no,
we're not there. He's the guy. Yeah. Fuck that.
You're a guy.
I'm not a monster. Yeah, this guy's
You're my bro.
So he's going through some shit.
Yeah. He just watched almost I guess in this future it'd be a 9/11, at least, because the population has been diminished so much that to lose 300 people in an afternoon, it'd be a huge blow.
It would be a huge blow, because then there's like a big emphasis on like incentivizing breeding. Like they make a throwaway line about like, if we're having another kid, because with 6 kids you get 3 bedrooms. Like it's
right.
They need people. So I don't feel like they would set up stadiums on the borders of a giant robot fight.
They also pass a poster, I'm sure you saw this, where there's like a very pregnant woman, and it just says like ROBOTJOX. You're like, what am I looking at?
Yeah. You're looking at Kinko's finest last minute work is what's going on there.
So we jump ahead because he gets so tore up that he just wakes up at home completely nude.
Fully nude.
And Athena brought him home, undressed him, and just watched him sleep nakedly all night.
Very confused toddler thing to do.
Yeah.
So she went from like, hey, do not sexually harass me, I'm your colleague and friend, to I am a tube child. What is a penis?
There is
she goes, I studied your body. She delivers her lines like Bruce Leroy. Maybe that's what I was thinking, El DeBarge.
It just all keeps going back to Last Dragon.
Yep.
Yeah, she's like, I just studied your body. I detected no hero essence emanating from your pores. Like, it's
right.
very
She
adorable.
thought he'd have some prophesized birthmark or something. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
But then she like follows him around like a dog, like literally 6 inches behind him. Like, ooh, how do you make coffee? You're like, no, lady, you've known this guy for so long.
And he's charmed by her weird baby acting.
Yeah.
Like,
There's another good delivery there because he's like, wow, I'm just a regular guy, 2 legs, 2 arms. And he looks at his dick and he goes, 1 hangover.
Well, that's
good
what I call my
self-censor
penis
there,
too,
bro.
buddy.
Yeah. I put the hang in hangover.
But this was like the 80s movie Dream Woman. Like, she's a full-grown sexy adult, but just the doesn't know what's going on.
With the mind of a baby.
Like the Splash. Yeah, the sexy baby.
Exactly. Jamie, I know we've never met each other, but cut the sexy baby part. Yeah, he just wants his juice. He just wants his orange juice. He comically does whatever. If you've ever been hungover, you've done this. You've fallen over and hit your head on a shelf. It's just a comedy of errors, one after another.
Yeah. Derp-a-derp. This scene could have used maybe like some old Chinese food. Like the grizzled detective. They could have dressed up his apartment to look a little...
His apartment, all right.
Down on his luck, private eye type.
His apartment fucking sucks. It's like... he's got one decorative thing, and it's that weird, like, glowy table, like that giant light bright board that just makes an annoying sound the whole time, this ambient noise. His apartment reminds me of whenever there's like No Man's Sky, for instance, where like you got to build a base. I'm like, Jesus Christ. And this is his room No is what my base. Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
It's 100% my No Man's Sky base. I fulfilled the 4 walls and a ceiling requirement that I needed to finish the quest, and I'm done. I'm going.
This counts as valid housing. Game. Can I fucking stop now?
Yeah. You forgot bed and glowy light bright. Okay. There.
I mean, it's his bachelor pad. His whole life is just robot jocking. He's not gonna buy a vase.
And he has like a big like samurai scroll, which totally checks out. This is a very weeb.
That checks out. Yeah, he's weeby.
You could tell by his kicks that he would have a scroll.
Yes, I could tell by his taekwondo spin kicks. This motherfucker's got scrolls on his wall. I don't get this character at all. Like, I don't get what motivates him. He keeps getting told what motivates him, and he doesn't care. He's like, no, you're not exactly right, but fine, whatever, I don't care.
He seems to, like, hate everything. I don't know, because he's like, I don't want to fight anymore. He's like, but why? He's like, I don't know. Like, are you tired of being exploited? Do you feel exploited? Are you sad to watch other jocks dying all the time? Like, any one of those is a fine motivation, but you do not... like identify with any of them.
Nah, don't even worry about it. Just keep let's keep it moving. I have a karate scroll. That's enough, right? On table. Come on.
I'm gonna throw it all away to go eat beans and sausage with my family.
He seemed to even hate that when they had the beans and sausage. Like,
he immediately was
sucks.
like, I made a huge mistake. Yeah, he's like, I should have kept jocking. You know what? When I was a kid, I understood it, but as an adult, I'm like, that shit looks fantastic. That is a hood classic meal right there. You got black eyed peas, a bratwurst, and it looks piping hot. Like, throw some seasoning on that, and it's going to be good times.
It is 1 bratwurst for 8 people.
Yeah.
9 people.
And you know they were going to do the polite thing and, like, give Achilles most of it. The kids were just going to watch him eat bratwurst while they ate a plate of beans.
He did almost save Alaska while he toppled into 300 people earlier that day. Like, he earned half a hot dog.
Give him that wet meat.
Oh, yeah. And that's also where we find out that Achilles' real name is Jim.
Jim, yeah. Jim the robot jock.
Oh, yeah, Jim the jock. I wonder if that's
Jock
why they
Jim.
did that.
Jim Jock. Well, so that's his family's house. He lives amongst the commoners now. They live in like big ghettos. They're nice. They're not like ghettos, you know. They're not like war torn. Everybody's just kind of going about their business, using the elevators.
It's not quite Judge Dredd Mega Block, but it'll be there in a generation for sure. They're trying to figure out who's going to fight next since he retired. So the Tubies are going to race to the top of a jungle gym.
The rattle room is my favorite thing in existence. I fucking love the rattle room.
Too. I was like, this fucking rules. I wanted it to be like a series of trials, and we would see it. I was like settled in.
There's a series of trials baked into the rattle room. You've got wet pipes. You've got hot pipes. You've got trick pipes.
Trick pipe.
Trick pipe is my favorite thing. Whenever like my buddy and I, whenever one of us would fall down or just something happened, like we got trick piped. Like that's just when the bottom drops out for no reason. That's a trick pipe.
Yeah, it was like the thing of ants in your pants. I don't know if you guys ants in your pants. Yeah, okay.
It's 100% ants in my pants.
It
just vibrates.
Yes, I love that thing ants in your pants. You go up to the top and you like go limp and let yourself fall to the bottom, but like dangerous. Like that's the dream.
Yeah.
Yep.
This was I want to do the rattle room. I think I could do it.
You'd crush it unless I was there, and then I would kick you right out of the trick pipe.
And then your hubris would cause you to fucking fall in the trick pipe, and I would climb up right after you. You'd suss out the remaining dangers.
I would be at the bottom already dead after 2 minutes, but I still want to do it.
It does look like someone put together like a dome, like a jungle gym dome, but like didn't follow directions and just fucked it all up.
Yeah.
And then when they were done, they're like, dude, this looks like shit. And they're like, no, check this out. Grab the camera and then shake it. It will look awesome. And they're like, I don't think you're right. And they weren't. It looks like shit.
It's so good. I love that everything hinges. The fate of the country hinges on who can climb up this vibrating jungle gym the fastest, and not get unlucky.
Yeah, how else do you test luck?
Like we've discussed many times, the main problem with the robots is that you get shaken around a bunch of them. So to pick the best robot fighter, they shake them around a whole bunch see who doesn't die.
Whose back doesn't just snap into. Yeah, who's the best at vibrating? You got the job. That's all you need to do. You don't have to know what the weapons are. You don't even have to fucking need to know how to drive one of these things. Just vibrate real good.
Yeah, just maintain your balance. That's all you need to do in the robots.
This is like, it's like totally unfair. You could be the peak of physical perfection. If you're just the fastest one, you're fucked because you're going to be the first one to touch the hot pipe. And you're going to be the first one to step on the trick pipe it's a breakaway pipe. These guys don't die, but they show them comically in the next scene with like, in full traction. You know, they've got broken necks, broken arms.
You've been calling it trick pipe your whole life, but check this out. In my notes, it says he steps on trick pipe, falls all the way down, Athena wins. Like, I called it trick pipe in my notes. There's no other thing to call it.
That's all it is. It's a trick. It's not fair. It's rigged. I don't know. It's like, I don't know what the point of this is. Like, so the person that's the most athletic and the fastest and the most aggressive is the first one to hit trick pipe. And what is the lesson of trick pipe? Other than like, sucks to be you. Like, I don't know. It's fuck you,
I guess
buddy.
It's like, spread your weight out. We should explain to people what trick pipe does is simply disappear.
Yeah.
So you put all your weight on this one pipe and it's just gone.
It just disappears.
And then launched to the ground.
Yeah.
So yeah, like
you fall several stories. This thing is not small.
To be fair, by then we've already seen hot pipe and lube pipe, so you should know not to like put too much faith in a pipe.
Yeah.
Like don't grab it with your full hand. Don't put your whole foot on it.
There's the hot pipe too. It steams up like a steam whistle. Like it makes a fun little noise and it just turns bright red.
What does any of that like teach you about robot fighting?
Nothing. I mean, it maybe teaches you how to re-enter the atmosphere because Achilles' cockpit gets up to 400 fucking degrees at one point. It's told to us what is the melting temperature of human skin? Like, I don't understand.
We're already 9/11 truthing ROBOTJOX.
Yeah, it's true. You know what this reminds me of? I may lose you, Lydia, depending on your knowledge of The Ultimate Fighter. But Sean, do you remember the season where Rich Franklin and Matt Hughes were coaching opposite each other?
I do.
There was that one challenge where they had the treetop drill where like one big person has to stand there planted and anchor themselves while a smaller person like climbs around their body without touching the ground.
I think
Matt Hughes went
you
first.
And me talked about this. Yeah.
Yeah. Matt Hughes went first and he made his team go like, do not quit. I don't care what pain you're in. Don't you fucking quit. They got like 200 reps. And then Rich Franklin just laughs and goes, we forfeit. And he didn't even do it. That's what I think that's the correct approach to the rattle room. Like you just wait till everybody goes up, and then you're like, "Good job, superior."
I'm still pissed
athlete.
off about that all these years later. I thought, like, dude, you're on TV. Your fucking dad can see you, and you're gonna do this snivelly, like, anti-sportsmanship shit on TV. You're supposed to be a champion.
People were pissed off. His own guy like went and pouted in an outhouse.
He was right to do it.
That is a hard. That is a very physically.
Thank you for bringing up that frustrating,
painful memory. So yeah, Athena wins. She's second. So that means that she's not the first person to hit trick pipe. She watches it happen. She passes it. She gets into.
She does a little tightrope walk at the end to sort of demonstrate, like, my gracefulness will come in handy here.
Yeah, my cat-like, mobility gets me across. Maybe she walked on a trick pipe and it had no effect on her. It seems odd that there were no other crazy pipes.
In next to the ceiling, what you want is an eject pipe. Shoot him into the ceiling. Shoot that tubie into the fucking roof.
Well, and it seems weird that she was the only one with any balance, too, because the first guy that went up was so shaky, and they made a point of showing him being like, whoa. Yeah. And then she just went right up, boop, into that hole. So I'm like, were they training them on balance, or did they not? And then make them climb the shaky jungle gym?
It's a skill she picked up from a night of penis gazing. She's like, she stared at Gary Graham's dong all night. She's like, I'm learning balance. Maybe?
I'm sure.
I don't know. I might be retconning that.
As a woman just born with natural grace.
I guess that's a way to take it.
She definitely is being sort of poisoned, quote unquote, by Achilles and his thoughts on luck and just, general
and fear.
Just the general vibe fear of a human. Yeah, fear, which creates caution and hubris and blah, blah, blah. Because all these other gene jocks they're kind of dicks, they're cocky for no reason. Achilles just completely disables one with some bullshito. He does the little Steven Seagal backwards hand push, that with the defense of which is just to move your hand out of the way. But yeah, these guys suck, and they're full of themselves in a weird way. I'd say the world building here kind of falls apart, because if you're breeding people for a purpose, they all seem like they make fun of Athena. They do seem very human in all the wrong ways. Right. They're a little antagonistic.
I also feel like that's your politics, is hey, don't forget about us, the natural humans with our flaws and foibles. Stop trying to replace us with tube babies. Sexy El DeBarges.
They tried to do a Gattaca.
We already have our own El DeBarge.
Yeah, they made this world post-nuclear war that's supposed to be better and more peaceful, but there's very much still racism and sexism, and there's only one robot jock that's a woman. Why make one? Yeah. Either make zero or give her someone to hang out with.
I agree.
Well, they do the Starship Troopers thing where they they all shower together, and then Achilles and Tex are like, "Whoa! I saw a woman's behind. This ain't right. It's something's not right about this." You know how these tubies are. Fucking Tex, man. He's just the sweatiest upper lip of all time.
Yeah, he's a real sweaty dude. He's in Matsumoto's office, and now we learn that he's the spy. What a shock.
Crazy, Shocker. Because he spent so much of the movie talking about how someone's got to be the spy.
Yeah.
And it can't be me, because I'm the most American.
I got the only cowboy hat left in America. How can I be a goddamn spy?
Yeah, I'm the one who said 4 or 5 racial slurs. This scene. I couldn't be the bad guy.
I also won some fights, but, the racism, I think, it stands for itself. It stands on its own.
He has that, villain slipperiness that I like, where Matsumoto pulls a gun on him. It's over. He's like, dude, I know you're a spy. I got a gun on you. Just
bro,
let's wrap this up. He goes, I'll be damned. You got me. Takes off his hat and he
slaps the gun out of his head with the cowboy hat.
Yeah.
That's how American he is.
That's how undefeated American brashness is.
Cowboy hat slap.
Yeah. And he tries to fake him. He shoots him in the head and he's like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to fake a suicide. Yeah. But Matsumoto had filmed the entire thing. And you're like, okay, that's...
Yeah.
Well, I know you have the line where he says, meet the real Tex, right? I love that line.
It is really good.
Meet the real Tex.
It was just so heavy-handed. I was like, I don't know.
I found your damn spy. So that would earlier when Athena brought up to Tex that your last victory she was impressed by it. She was excited to talk to him about it. But Doc Matsumoto was like, no, you're right. That was bullshit. And so he pulls up video of it and shows the text, and he's like, look how impossible this was. And he's like, what? It's luck. Good old USA luck. And he's like, no. Let's zoom in. I love this moment too. He's like, let's take another look. And he goes, okay. Okay. He just quietly is like, I'll go on this walk with you, I guess, for a little bit, even though I know where it's going. I know what you're trying to say here. I'm sweating already. But okay, let's do it. Let's look at it. He had insider knowledge of the robot. Mm-hmm. They gave him that. They gave Tex the victory to make him look good, because what better spy than a hero?
A brilliant plan.
Yeah, and they did say at some point that they'd lost more fights to their leaks than to actual robot fighting.
Yeah.
Like, the other team is not good at robot fighting,
guess,
so they always win by cheating.
Yeah, they always win by cheating. Which, again, is kind of like if you're putting all of human politics and war and land occupation in the hands of, like, this battle, it feels like it would be really, I don't know, sacred. Like, you wouldn't let people fuck with it. And if someone did fuck with it, you're like, okay, well, now we're just going to have a regular war then.
Back to regular war, I guess. Yeah, that's
like
what you wanted.
like-
you want spies? All right. That, you know what comes with that? Missiles and armies.
Murders.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here if we're
I
not
also
going to decide
think-
it with a fist fight?
The one plot hole here, too, is that Alexander, even though he's like just a weird Dracula dick, does seem to genuinely enjoy robot fighting. And
I think he's the only one who does. I
Right.
think he's having a ball.
But he's also benefiting from these leaks. And so I don't think he would approve of the leaks. They needed to have something in the movie where he found out there were leaks. He's like, what? No, fuck that. We're fighting man to man. No leaks. Like, let's just, just fist or
that'd be
whatever.
better.
But they don't address it. Like, he's definitely winning with these leaks. He deflects the green laser, like he knows when it's coming and he stops it. So he's definitely like using the leak information, but he's also like, I'm the last real robot jock out here. So
Add that to the list of characters with no clear motivations.
right.
yeah.
He just likes
Which
blood.
is all of them.
Speaking of, Athena goes back to Achilles' place to apologize because
With
earlier
sex.
she was like, "You are a coward,"
Yeah.
and
The ultimate apology.
he doesn't give a shit. He's like, "Dude, people talk shit at me all day. I do not care. I don't care about anything. They didn't write this part of my character." She goes, "Okay, I got a present for you."
I like silver
Turn around.
jumpsuits, and that's it. That's all I know.
Yeah, when they were done, she pulls out a hot glue gun. And when I say hot glue gun, I mean
hot glue it in my notes. It is a hot glue gun. They left the hot glue cartridge in it.
yes, like it says like
It says fucking Elmer's on the side of it.
yeah, Janice's fabrics and cutlery. It says right on the side. She tranks him with the hot glue gun. He has enough fight left for some karate though. He's like, "Oh, I've been tranked with future tranquilizer." It doesn't matter, Luke. I drink so much this has no effect on me. So they have a karate fight. He throws her on the bed. He thinks this is a scene where the fist fight's going to turn into lovemaking.
Yeah.
He is wrong.
She bites the shit out of his lower lip. Yeah.
It's so good.
And then she has the only good fight move in the whole movie. She just grabs him by the head and just knee blasts him right in the face.
Yeah,
And that
awesome.
fuck the tranquilizer. That's what did the job.
That's the knockout.
Yeah, I love that. I was like, oh man, are they gonna like kid? No, okay, no,
Yeah.
she's
No.
kicking his ass.
Yeah,
She
Alright.
bit him right on the kiss.
Yeah.
So her plan is to disguise herself as Achilles and make her way in, but she's still kind of got like a sexy lady walk. So everyone's like, Achilles got a little spring in his step today.
Yeah, something
And then-
a little sexier today than usual. Like,
Yeah.
what's going on with that,
Good.
with that thing?
I like the way you're moving, Gary Graham. They give him a butt slap, and this guy, butt slap, instantly knows.
Chekhov's ass slap is like the great. That's how I learned what Chekhov's anything was. I was like, somebody explained Chekhov's. I was like, oh, like the ass slap in ROBOTJOX. Like I instantly knew what they were talking about.
Exactly.
That guy was so mad too. He was so betrayed. He was like, that is not my
dude.
ass. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Who are you?
This gey's like, I'm the guy that slaps Achilles' ass before he gets in that robot. And then she took it from him. She took it from him.
Hey! He's going to
so-
complain to the fucking manager about it. He's so mad.
So Athena's just going to steal the whole robot and just go fight. And her Dr. Ruth mother is like, you are bred to obey. How could you possibly reject your programming? Don't even think they're going to go anywhere with that. Like, that's it. They're done exploring that.
We already
theme
know
of,
why,
like-
because
Yeah.
the penis gazing. Like that changed
Yes.
her. She's
She's
her own
different.
person now.
I like how her response to that too is just like, no.
And then she does like a straight up villainous cackle. Like as she's like probably killing people. Like there a lot of shit gets broken in that scene. Like there's no way like some of those cranes didn't have dudes in them. It's
And this is another one of those situations where the referees are like, we do not care who is in the robot. That's up to you. I'm like, no, dude, this is fucking call a timeout.
Dude,
Like,
what if a kid stole that robot? Like,
if someone ran from the crowd during a football game and like grabbed a quarterback's helmet, they don't be like, yeah, you got to keep playing. That guy's got your hat. You got to fucking play. He doesn't know the plays though. He can't.
He scored. We do not care. The ball has reached the end zone. It is not up to us who scores.
Yeah, like when I was playing roller derby when they were still figuring out like what the rules of roller derby
I still
were going
don't
to be.
know what they are.
They change all the time still, I think. But like part of the problem that we had was someone would find a way to break the rules that was boring and not fun to watch, but then everybody had to play that way because it was the easiest way to win,
so
and then you'd have to change the rules to prevent that, right? So I feel like now that they know that just anyone can take the robot, it's going to be a game of stealing each other's robots.
That's it. That's all politics is going to come down to who can steal the robot best.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cooler.
Some American Tubi is going to bum rush the Russian silo and just be like, haha, I got your robot. What you going to do? I took the field. It's too late. It's too late.
And then they just punch themselves in the head until they pass out.
Rocket fist to my own face. My back is broken. America wins again.
Hell yeah.
So Doc, before he got, shot in the face by the traitor, was recording the instructions for the new weapon. His plan was to avoid any leaks, was to just not tell anyone what the new weapon was, and then record a video and then just upload it directly to the pilot's cockpit. And this big secret weapon is just the biggest fart bomb in the world. It doesn't do fucking anything. Like it's a light several times brighter than the sun.
Yeah.
And then Alexander goes, Hulk punch. Like he just immediately shakes it off and just
does nothing.
She just proceeds
no
to
advantage.
clobber. Yeah. She just goes, yeah.
She could have done something. She just stood there and laughed while he was like, my eyes. She's like,
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, I'm recovered from that.
Yep,
and
I'm fine.
Punches her.
And then she just spends the rest of the fight just vibrating. The rattle room could not prepare her for this amount of tussling.
If these were supposed to be our heroes, this is a bad guy weapon. Blinding your opponent, that's like that's a blood sport. Story of Ricky, gladiator, kickboxer, undercover brother. This is something a bad guy does to the hero. And what's funny is that Tex spends the whole time like being really upset that all this chaos is happening, even though he wants America to lose. He's there as a spy, but he's like, shit, we gotta stop her.
Like, I still hate women. I don't want us to win, but I'm still mad
He's
that
so
there's
torn.
a woman.
Yeah. What do I hate more?
I'm a racist first, a sexist second, a spy third, fourth. I just love watching a good robot fight for America. That's great when they're showing the video of him killing Matsumoto. They're like, oh no, you're the spy. And he's like, yeah, check it out. I'm about to kill him. This part's coming up. You're going to love this. I'm going to shoot him in the head. He's like super excited for the incriminating evidence to show.
That's a pretty good the jig is up response. I appreciate it. He's like, Tex, you didn't. He's like, sure as hell did. Watch. It's like, all right. He's feeling it. He knows he's about to jump out that window. He's he's calculated it already. He knows what's happening next.
And so he's got two guys holding him. And then the main commissioner says, I'll see you hang for this. He goes, nope. He does like a little wiggle, a little elbow strike, and then escapes and just jumps to his death. He's just a slippery little piggy.
That's literally like the second time in like two scenes where they've had like a big emotional appeal to someone, like, please, don't do this, or I'm going to kill you. And that person just responds, no. And then that's it. Like, it feels like placeholdery. They're like, we'll have him say something cool here.
Yeah.
In many ways, that appeal to humanity is the only character in the movie that has an arc, because that is going to work out later for that appeal to humanity. It doesn't work, doesn't work, and then totally does. I don't want to spoil it. We got
out of nowhere.
I guess we're kind of close to the ending. There's a couple of big things we need to talk about.
Achilles shows up in his little flying saucer, takes the field, and
he's like star hatchback.
Yeah, his little star hatchback.
God. His little outfit that he's in, skin tight silver suit where his penis is like distracting.
That David Bowie onesie that he's got going on there. Yeah.
It's a fucking sweet
he
unit.
Complained about that.
People are like, the people put him in that. They're like, you sure you're okay with this? He's like, I don't give a fuck. I've had a whole dick. I've had a tiny dick my whole life. I don't care. Who knows? Let them see.
Into that thing like Sandy from Grease. Like they sewed him into that
You
shit.
can tell that he's circumcised. That's how fucking tight that thing is.
Yes. I was so distracted. I was like, oh my God.
You could see his nutsack. You could see where his shaft ends and then the balls begin. It's like, okay, that's it. You are shrink wrapped in that thing, brother. Yeah, that thing is impressive.
Gotta get a dance belt.
I had to mention that. That was important. Sorry.
It's tight. He gets out. Alexander realizes that he's been hoodwinked. He's not fighting Achilles, and he's really upset about it. But he's still like, maybe I crush you like bugs. You know, the referees are like, don't crush him like bugs. He's like, maybe I kill you too. I'm a giant robot. Who fucking cares? No one can stop me.
I know I missed the last couple call-outs, but I did take a clip of that. Let me play that.
Why don't I just crush you?
Gosh, squirrel.
Alexander, final judgment is for the Confederation. You must leave the field or be held in contempt of process.
Why? You let him kill someone before.
Squash you both.
This rules now. I kill.
You're a lot of things, Alexander, but you're not a coward. I'm gonna get in this thing, and I'm gonna kick your ass!
That was what she would have said, but with like a pregnant pause.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kick your butt!
You make my foot taste like blood. Okay, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's all off the rails. The rules mean nothing. The entire world is riding on this honorable match of sportsmen. Both sides are conniving fucks.
Yeah.
The match is over. Russia owns Alaska.
No, they lost it. They called it. They were like, no, you if you don't leave the field now, Russia loses Alaska.
Oh, you're right.
He's
okay.
like,
so he
fine.
had one and then he forfeited.
Yeah, like
Fine,
a Harkonnen shows up on screen. Is like, Alexander, no.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't give a shit about Russia. I just want to fist
I'm
fight.
an impulsive narcissist, and I'm here for me.
And so now Achilles has a shot with the lady because she has been vibrated so much that her brain isn't quite connected to the rest of her nervous system. She's mostly dead. So here's where he takes his opportunity to really share a nice kiss with her.
Yeah.
The woman who cost America Alaska. Luckily, it got back on a technicality. Yeah. But now Alexander isn't like, okay, I'll honorably wait for you to get up. No. He's like, no, just get in the robot and I will crush you. Like,
once you're in that seat,
I'm
fucking, you're dead. Yeah. I want to take it back a little bit, though. I do like that he recognized he'd been hoodwinked because he recognized those sweet, sultry lips of Anne Marie Johnson. Just a little bit, her helmet kind of shifted. You just saw the mouth, and he's like, the woman. He knew right away. Those aren't Achilles' sweet lips.
It'd be better if he got it from the robot walk. He's like, I know the movement of Achilles, and your moves are far too sexy.
Woman.
I've seen the outline of his penis. We all have. We all know what Achilles' penis looks like.
This is not the cock walk that I am familiar with.
I mean, it's kind of like the ass slap. It's like he saw her mouth and was like, oh, I know Achilles' mouth real well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He loves it.
I look at it a lot.
I never thought I'd say this, but I like to see your mouth again.
So I would say this next thing that happens is it's up there with the dumbest things that could ever be. Like the most... In the history of man, the most pointless endeavors.
Oh my God.
This stands among all of them.
It's the weirdest ending to a movie I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
This is big in the field
crazy.
of just because you can doesn't mean you should. Like this is full blown.
Achilles jet jumps into the sky with so much G-force his fucking face can barely take it. The smoke coming out of the robot is black. Like the thing runs on coal. I don't think it's meant to do this. It shoots into space. I don't even know why they designed these things to do this. It's fucking crazy. Like, think of all the systems you'd have to have in place for one of these robots to go into space.
All of it. Yeah, just in his cockpit alone. Like, just the life support involved in this. He just has his motorcycle helmet on. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, he'll be fine. Alexander does the same thing. Okay, cool. We're going to space. Let's do this in space. Alexander starts flying behind him. Now, he shoots a missile, hits Achilles in the foot, blows his foot right off. His foot's fucked. You're like, okay, here's his comeback. No, Achilles is like, well, whatever this plan was, forget it. I'm just going to go back to Earth.
I don't have a foot now. I can't operate in space without a foot.
But he's not communicating to us like, oh, okay, plan B. No, he's like, no, this whole thing is plan A. He crash lands on Earth. Bam!
In the exact same spot they took off from.
The exact same
really
spot.
Really impressive. Yeah.
Beautiful, picturesque wilderness in the nuclear holocaust. That's how off the rails we are. They forgot this was a nuclear holocaust planet. Achilles' robot, completely toast. Alexander's fine. He's missing an arm from earlier, but no big deal. He's still got like 5 limbs left. Also, the fight is over officially. The stakes here are just Achilles' life. Just this one madman's life in the robot. That's the only reason anyone has to care about anything. And Achilles is like got one last move. He turns into like a tank, but a real shitty tank. Like
he sits like a cross-legged
Transformers.
style.
Do you remember Transformers Jumpstarter?
I thought it was more like
it was just like a Transformer.
Yeah.
I loved that part because I was like, that'd make a fun toy.
But like a Transformer sucking his own dick.
Right. And he's trying really hard. He's like, I'm going for that lap. They did want to make a Transformer. They saw Transformers and they're like, this would be really awesome as a live action film. We're going to try to do it. And we got this.
They're like, let's have him go to space. Let's have him turn into a tank. And they're like, what if both those things were pointless and stupid?
Yeah. I think
don't care. Just get it in.
If they wanted to make that rule, if they go to space, there should have been like Gundam wings up there, like they could like rig into, and then they have a fucking sweet wing fight.
Maybe just a fight. Don't just fly up and then fly back down to the exact same spot for no reason. That's weird.
I will give them credit for this. The stupidest thing they could have like done right, but they did space correctly. There's no sound, which I thought was impressive. Like, okay, cool. Out of all this dumb shit you decided to do, you got space right. That's congratulations, I guess.
It definitely feels like they ran on a budget.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think they went to space and then they were like, we don't have the budget for space. Back down, guys.
Well, good news. We don't need a sound guy, so that's some savings right there.
I feel like this was like a real smug 7th grader move. Like, technically there would be no sound in space, and so because there's like no sound in a jarring way, not like in Battlestar Galactica when the sound becomes very faint
or like muted.
Yeah, it's just like someone hit the mute button. Like there's no music. It's just like, it sounds like a mistake. But you can tell someone's like, no, actually.
So I like this. His tank mode is great. So tank mode is him just sitting cross-legged style, but he has little tank treads on his hamstrings. So he's just a little upright sitting tank now. He's just rolling around, and Alexander is completely perplexed by this. He can't land a shot. Little tank boy is just zigzagging every one of his moves, and he's shooting him in the dick.
It brings up an important point, though. I want to talk about that because why do they fight as men when they could be birds or tanks or crabs?
Exactly. Rules, I guess. Like I don't know. There was no. All right, now is the long range portion of the fight is over. Now time for space. Like they were all geared up to go to space, but like. There didn't seem to be a space segment of the fight. So
man-shaped is not a good shape for the robots. Like they fall over too much. Like you're right. They should be just big tanks.
Mm-hmm.
I did just realize that the big man tank walked over to the tank and the tank and just grabbed it and threw it over on its side. So maybe that's why
he's so frustrated with the long range attempts. He can't hit him with his guns, and he's flipping out. He can't stand this. He's like, this little tank is unbelievable. I can't believe he could do this. And he's shooting him in the dick. And then so he's just like, I only got one move left. I'm just going to reach down. I'm just going to tip him over. Like, that's it. And it works. Achilles is completely fucked. He's like, well, I tried. That's all I had. I think he's done after that point. The dick saw comes out, right? Is that when the dick saw comes out?
Yeah. And then that goes into the cockpit and Achilles just jumps out of his robot. Alexander's like, you've lost, Achilles. And he has. He's just dodging foot stomps at this point.
You have no robot. Like, that's it. That's the end of the robot fight.
He does grab a foot on the way up. You're like, oh, cool. He's going to like climb into the other guy's robot. But no, Achilles can't do a pull-up. So he drops down and he just...
and then he starts doing the most adorable, like, flag football fucking juke maneuvers. Like, just to...
He's like trying to dodge bullets. So he's trying to get to this, the old robot hand, the arm that got cut off, and he's going to obviously rocket punch it. But to get to it, he has to run, and he just decides to jump face first into the ground. Halfway there is like, oh, this is the perfect way to like get there faster. He can't shoot me if I'm laying down.
That's a good video game thing too. Like if you're just laying down, you're invincible. No one can shoot you.
Totally invincible. Yeah.
That fist on the ground was the giveaway that they landed in the exact same spot too. I was like not sure. I was like, did they go into space, fly a little bit around the globe, and then just land perfectly back in the same spot?
That's
or am
exactly
I crazy?
What they did.
And then you see the fist, and you're like, God damn it, this is the same fucking spot. That's Alexander's fist. Unless there's some other conveniently placed robot fist, discarded robot fist.
I got distracted during this part of the movie because it was my husband came home from work, and so I like paused it. I'm in like the last 10 minutes. I explained the whole movie to my husband, and then I tell him how I think it's gonna end.
Were you right?
No. Oh. You're gonna be shocked to hear that I was like devastating the wrong. I was like, well, the moral of the movie, I think, is that like, sometimes you just gotta kill people. Because,
yeah, man.
Because they had that one guy who was like, the fight's only over when somebody wins or whatever. They kept saying that over and over again. The fight's only over when somebody wins. So I was like, I think the moral of this movie is, you just got to kill really bad people sometimes.
Some bad people just, there's no
sexy baby was wrong. Not trust the philosophies of a tubie.
Yeah, and then we turn it back on, and then the actual ending happens, and I'm like, well, okay.
It's an incredible turn by almost unbelievable by Alexander, where he's like, let's stop fighting, and he's like, you old son of a bitch, I'm in, and they do their crash and burn,
Yeah. Well, let's get there, because he does hotwire the arm and shoot the rocket punch. Boom. Right. That robot's fucked.
This is Alexander's fist, so he knows, Achilles knows that he's a rocket punch guy. He's got a rocket punch in this thing.
Yeah, he put all of his points into rocket punch. Mm-hmm. So his robot's dead. Alexander jumps out with a pipe. Achilles is like better at karate. He beats him, and they're like, "Come on, it's over." They keep telling each other it's over. Like, I don't know, man. You guys both. It might be over for both of you guys. I really think you're coming home to a lot of criminal charges, a lot of disappointed countries and fans.
You probably lost all your health insurance benefits. That arm is just broken from now on.
You've done multiple war crimes.
I did. This is kind of a visual ending, so we might have to describe what's happening, but. Here's the finale of ROBOTJOX.
You can live.
Threw his pipe away.
Yes, if I kill you. We can both live! We are dead. We're ROBOTJOX.
Appeals to his humanity. And then...
Alexander thinks about it. He raises his pipe.
And then the appeal to humanity worked. And then, Liddy, would you like to describe how this movie ends?
Yes, and then Achilles does a thumbs up. Mm-hmm. And then Alexander pauses and returns the thumbs up.
Yep.
And then they bump their fists together.
Thumbs up, fist bump. End of movie.
Crash and burn. That's the ROBOTJOX call sign. They thumb up and they punch their thumbs ups together, and that's it. I love his we're dead already. We are ROBOTJOX. Like it's a vampire's curse. Like we are cursed. It's the life of the ROBOTJOX. Like, bro, this is a job.
The final line is we can live, Alexander goes, ugh, which is actually technically the last line of the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it ends on a close up of two thumbs ups, like fist bumping. Two thumbs up, fist bumps. Who could have guessed that was going to happen? Never in a million years.
Yeah. That was like the promotion, the poster for Rocky IV. Like, that was just like an image we lived with in the 80s of East and West, punching together to unite.
That it had the stink of a Return of the King ending where they're all just kind of laughing and you're just like, what is happening here? This is weird. Does no one else think this is weird?
I could have gone for 40 more minutes of fist bumps.
Yeah.
Gandalf, thumbs up, fist bump.
Yeah. All right, get on a boat. This is the fist bumping boat, fist bump. So you better bring that fist bump.
There's so much that's left unresolved. How could it just... It's these two men have finally settled this personal disagreement that was sort of between them, but was also between, the two continents that make up the world now.
I picture a meeting that's okay, this robot thing, one man should not have that much power. So here, I propose a lot of men, and you have your own group of a lot of men, and so the power is dispersed through armies. Just reinvent war. That's what I'm getting at. Yeah,
try to picture this. Osama bin Laden is on a plane, and one of the passengers gets up and fist fights Osama bin Laden and takes control of the cockpit. Still does 9/11. Still flies right into that building. But then the two of them survive, and then they do a handshake. Cut to credits.
I like your style, kid.
Who the fuck owns Alaska? We never settled that.
I think America gets it. I think the Confederacy forfeited it when Alexander broke the rules somehow, doing the same shit he always does, which was fine up until this moment.
He did kill the refs too.
He did murder
so I don't know.
Refs, yeah.
Does that invalidate their decision? It probably does. The next ref's probably look, those guys made a ruling, but then they exploded. So by the bylaws state, if you explode within 1 minute of a ruling,
Alaska is still uncontested. The only thing I could really say, it's relevant. There's a Mike Tyson fight tonight. There was a documentary Mike Tyson did, and he interviewed Evander Holyfield, and they're both they had a contentious period, because Mike Tyson did try to bite his entire ear off, but they both realized that we're boxers. We're not on a team. we're just alone out there. No, like we have no one to support each other. Like the only person that I have anything in common with is the guy on the other side of the ring. We should be friends. And that's the only, if I'm really stretching it. But this Mike Tyson documentary came out like decades after ROBOTJOX, so I don't know that they called that. I don't think
they didn't learn the lessons from ROBOTJOX. It's fucking nonsense.
I think they did, actually. I think Mike Tyson embraced the we can live of ROBOTJOX and squashed that Evander Holyfield beef.
I normally don't speak to women unless I'm fornicating with them. That's one of my favorite. He said that to a female reporter.
Oh my God.
He really said that. That was not a ROBOTJOX joke. You didn't twist it to make sense in the context of what we're doing. He said that.
Yeah.
Wild. I do it the old-fashioned way. That I made up. That was fake. That was a ROBOTJOX.
Feel that sexy baby with my sperm.
I never fucked tubies.
Einstein, 100, Frankfurt. Einstein, 100, Frankfurt. Unser Podcast genau. Und mit maximalen Schau. Sag Frankfurt Podcast. Korrekt. Ja. Der Kraft ist nicht ohne. Schick die in die Hundezone. 4 eine Stunde. Komm schon, du kennst die Nummer.